So, over the past few days, I've been thinking about what my first attempt at a serious video should be about, and while I could ride the algorithm gravy train of shitting on GW in its current state, that'd be too easy, and to be honest, it would do more harm than good to boost such a tiny channel with, well, really no meaty content so far. So I'll just stick to another passion I can cover more that hasn't already been done to death by bigger and better people. But don't worry, I'll get to you soon enough. In the meantime, I'll be covering another franchise that is equally near and dear to my heart as much as 40k is. What is that franchise, I hear you not really ask, because it's already been said in the title. XCOM, of course. Now, while I could go on and on about how much I love the series, this won't be that type of video, although I'm sure at one point in time I'll make it. No, this is addressing a little problem, let's call it, that hopefully will be nothing major, just a blip on the radar. You see, it's recently come to my attention some time ago that a game going by the name of XCOM Legends was making the rounds on some websites, even having been released at this point. Upon hearing this, I was more than ecstatic. Finally, a new game in the series, I thought. That was up until I read the rest of the following headline. And oh boy, did my piss start to fizz like a shut can of Coke. I waited until I got home from work and decided to see if there was any gameplay of this thing, thinking maybe it's just an experimental take on XCOM like Chimera Squad was. Turns out I didn't need to look far, as I could easily find some footage on YouTube, and what I saw was just sheer and utter shite in every single sense of the word. XCOM Legends is nothing but a cheap and simple cash grab in the style of the ever-rising gacha game trend. For those who don't know what a gacha game is, it is essentially a style of game commonly found nowadays on mobile platforms, in which the player collects items, most often characters, of ever-rising types of rarity in loot box-esque systems. Said items can be earned via special events, but the former form of acquirement is often the most focused upon. Said items/characters can then be used in a variety of different ways, with each one having an efficiency in a particular field, which is where the appeal of collecting them all becomes ever more apparent. If you have ever played MK Mobile, Marvel Strike Force, or the game that shall not be named, then you already know what I mean. Now, while gachas can be fun, I've played a fair few of them myself, they have seen some regulations such as displaying chance rate as well as face scrutiny for their inclusion of gambling mechanics while being accessible by children. I personally, for example, did play Marvel Strike Force for a while, and while it is one of the better gachas out there, as it's not too egregious, it's a format that can be heavily exploited, especially amongst more anime-inclined audiences who some people develop personal connection towards because of the whole waifu is lifu mentality. Apparently, there are different types of gacha games to find here on Wikipedia, but you get the general gist of the idea. I will leave a link to the page down below should you want to read it further away. Anyway, I could kind of forgive such mechanics if they were implemented in an XCOM sort of way, which sounds heretical, but hear me out. Imagine the gameplay of XCOM, big open space, flanking positions, cover-based system, customizable soldiers with weapon classes. Now let's tweak it with the gacha system in mind. Said soldiers could stick to using different rarity weapons of the same type, such as the standard ballistic weapon being bronze, then moving all the way to chosen weaponry being, diamond, platinum type rarity. This would of course allow types of armor too. characters could also have their hairstyle changed, armor and camo styles changed, while keeping their names and fixed abilities locked in based upon their rarity types. You could give a gold character a silver rarity sniper, or kit a bronze rarity soldier out in all platinum gear. You get what I'm trying to go for. A nice mix of both that keeps the core experience untouched. That's just a rough draft, but it only took me about 2 minutes tops to think about. You'd have thought about this, right? You'd have think that they would have thought this through. There's no way they could screw this up. Well, my dear viewer, you would be dead wrong. Because if that was the case, then why is the game a lane-based, level and non-cosmetic gear grinding, linear numbered mission, alternative currency shite show parading itself around an XCOM 2 asset as if it was wearing its flesh like a fucking flayed one? They've completely gutted what made XCOM, well, XCOM. I mean, just look at these screenshots, and like they've just gone for such an insulting downgrade. It makes Konami pachinko machines look like AAA releases. Like, where are the flanking shots, the elevated levels? Fuck, even the voices from the Three Stooges back on the Avenger don't make an appearance in this game, but then again, could you blame them? I never thought I'd want to hear Central remind me for the 20th fucking time about how the aliens continue to make progress on the Avatar project, or something blatantly obvious about how one of the Chosen is deciding to be a dickhead as usual. But yet, here we are, bare bones and no charm to be found. Although, get this, characters now level up by spending currency, not, playing missions like XCOM you had, which was what got you attached to them. In fact, I don't even think your characters can die. They just get the stupid timeout mechanic until they recover, or until you pay some currency to speed things up. No permadeath takes all the tension out of XCOM because they will just come back at some point, like Chimera Squad decided to do also. And if you're wondering if it stops there in terms of dumbed down gameplay, well, it gets worse. Because guess what else they decided to remove? Arguably the very thing that caused XCOM to become such a cult classic. The same mechanic that not a single traditional XCOM game has gone without. The very thing that caused, and still causes, so many memes about the franchise in the first place. Its most core feature, the percentage mechanic. Yes, ladies and gentlemen and all the warp entities in between, they got rid of the percentages to miss and the percentages to crit. What in holy fuck were they thinking? As if it wasn't bad enough with everything else, you get rid of a cornerstone mechanic. Now, I get why this was removed for a mobile game, but if that was one of the mechanics that couldn't be included, then why slap on the name XCOM? On its own, it could have been your average mobile game under a new IP published by 2K and created by Iridium Starfish, which, might I add, seems to be a brand new studio as its copyright is dated to 2020. Its website is literally just a PNG of the logo and has no noted previous works, at least none that I could find. If that's the case, however, Iridium may as well be changed to chocolate, as having this title as your debut release is just, well, depressing. But it may turn out to be a good studio, so I won't rag on it just yet. 2K on the other hand. In the article PC Games released, the words "new experiences 2K is exploring to offer its fans" can be seen in the bold summary just below the headline. Huh, that's funny. 2K, because if it wasn't for the fans, who, may I remind you, are a dedicated set of individuals who love the complete hell out of the franchise. I mean, just look at the ever-thriving mod community and Reddit pages. If it was truly for the fans, why did you soft release it to the Google Play Store in the Philippines and Malaysia? Why not release it to the whole App Store and others? Why only 2 regions nearest to the largest consumer of mobile games, that is China? It's not like 2K to indulge in practices for sole monetary gain. Pushing aside fan bases, right? Surely they didn't soft release it to obscure regions because of the sheer backlash this would get. Okay, I'll drop the sarcasm. Jokes more dried up than my levels of serotonin at this point. It's not hard to see why 2K did this. Clearly, someone fondly recalled the moment Blizzard announced their Diablo mobile game and the uproar that caused back in the day. Though in comparison to modern day news, Blizzard is probably wishing that was all they had to deal with currently. And I may not be the first, but I certainly won't be the last to swiftly remind 2K about what happens when you release an XCOM game that doesn't stick to its core fundamentals solely for a cash-in. 2K is looking to set itself up in the East Asian mobile gaming market because it may have not been approved by Winnie the Pooh or his Great Firewall of China just yet. It's settled for the next 2 best regions. Honestly, if you want a real XCOM experience on your phone, the first rebooted XCOM game has been out for a while on the App Store, and not too long ago, XCOM 2 got dropped on the mobile store as well, which I would highly recommend you buy if the fix for XCOM is so deep in your veins that a heroin addiction seems like a healthier option. Before I go though, I want to end on 2 happier notes. On the opening artwork for the game, you can see a lady in a blue suit of armour and what looks to be a Reaper holding a bowstring, potentially making canon that maybe bows will be added in XCOM 3. But why did I mention the lady in blue? Well, to XCOM fans, this image alone should bring back memories and may act as potential story material for later installments. The second note is that if you watch gameplay, you can see some of the suits of armour that look absolutely amazing, but are only locked, sadly, to XCOM Legends. Well, thanks to user Max on Steam, he has been porting some models over to XCOM 2, meaning that we the fans don't have to miss out on some sweet armour. To be fair, you should give his or her page a vast look for XCOM 2 cosmetics. Their stuff is really good. I will leave a link down below to their mods, so check them out when you can. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this little rant. Will this be a thing? Not sure, but screw it. My channel, my pastime. I don't recommend you subscribe just yet if you were thinking of it, because I don't know how often I will do these, but maybe hold off for now. Anyway, this has been Nathan X2000. Take care everyone. I'll see you next time.